My life has just been changed. Hi, welcome if you're new here. I'm Amy and I've been learning to sew since 2023. And this is actually the first video on this YouTube channel. Wish I could say it was my first ever YouTube video, but I was the kind of kid who would make a new YouTube channel for pretty much every single one of my hobbies and interests growing up. So this is another one to add to the list, but I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that this one will stick. I've been a part of the sewing community over on Instagram for a while and it's so lovely and positive over there. I've kind of got like a little sewing sanctuary, which is really lovely to go to. But yeah, I thought I'd give some longer form videos a go. I want to try some new techniques and kind of document the learning process a bit more. I want to teach myself how to make patterns at some point and kind of draft things that are just made for me. So if you're interested in that kind of thing and you want to stick around, then please hit the subscribe button and let me know if you've got any thoughts on specific topics that you'd like to see. But yeah, for now, grab a cuppa and a snack and we'll just pause the doom scroll for a while and enjoy some sewing, shall we? So we've actually got a really exciting topic to start off with today. I am currently in the process of doing my first ever pattern test for somebody. It's for Coraline Street's new Marcella vest pattern. And I have already made a toile out of a bed sheet. I cut out a size 12, which was a European size 44. I'll put my measurements in the description so you can have a look and compare if you wanted to. The toile actually fit me pretty much perfectly, so I'm not going to make any changes. For the main fabric though, I am using a navy twill, which is a bit thicker than what I use for the toile. It doesn't have quite the same drape, so we'll see how it goes. I think the pattern does recommend something a bit lighter weight, to be honest, but this was kind of what I had on hand. It's actually from my mum's stash, so thanks mum. She said that the last time she used it was for a carrier for one of my baby dolls when I was growing up, which I do actually remember. So it's been stuck in her cupboard for the past at least 20 years. So yeah, I'm looking forward to giving it a new lease of life, and I've been really wanting this style of vest for a while. I've resisted the urge to buy a ready-to-wear just because every time I see a ready-to-wear nowadays, I'm like, I can make that, so why am I buying it? So deadline is next week, I want to say, so not got so much time left. Looking forward to getting this finished, and stay tuned to the end to see the final result. The pattern does come with lined and unlined instructions, so you can do either or, but I have just cut out enough for the main fabric just because it's going to be plenty thick enough on its own. So yeah, not so many pattern pieces to work with, which is lovely. It's going to be a nice princess seam, so we've got some side front, side backs, centre front, centre backs. We need to take some time to talk about turning things right side out because my life has just been changed. Not to sound dramatic. This pattern comes with these straps that go on the back, and they are kind of pointy straps. You sew it around the edge so it's closed at one end and it's open at the other. And because I'm using quite a sturdy fabric, I was having some real difficulty trying to turn it right side out. Nothing was working. So far in sewing, I've only really used these loop turners which have the little hook on the end and the little ring on the other end. And these are okay in certain circumstances, especially if you've got like a thin open tube, but it just wasn't touching it whatsoever. It wasn't helping me. So I went to the internet, as I do with most things in sewing, and I found these tube turners. I have seen these around before. I've never really thought too much of it because I thought you could kind of just do everything with a loop turner. How wrong was I? These have changed my life. I have just done this strap off camera and it literally was a second and it was done. And I was a bit like shook. Like I was shook. We're going to do this one and I'm going to show you how to do it. It's like, I don't even think it needs a tutorial, it's so simple, but yeah, life changed, amazing. Totally 10 out of 10, recommend. So grab whatever you need to turn right side out. This is quite a big hole, so I'm actually going to use the biggest one. You pop that in one end and then scooch the fabric down. It's all out. And then once it's at the end, you grab the wooden stick which fits with the one you're using, and I'm just going to poke the corner like right into the hole. And then you just kind of push and it just pulls it all through so much more easily than whatever I was attempting to do before. And then once it starts coming out the other end, you can kind of just pull the rest of it through like this. And it's right side out. Obviously this looks a bit funky at the moment. I need to push the point out and everything, but that is honestly game changer. Recommend. Because I was using a slightly thicker fabric than normal for this project, I actually decided to press all of my seams open as I was going. So before I started constructing, I would overlock each piece just to make sure that all the edges were finished before I sewed it together. I feel like this gave me such a smooth finish at the end. I tried with just pressing the seam back, but because the fabric was a little bit on the thicker side, it just made the seams look quite bulky. So this gave me a lovely smooth finish, which I feel like made all the difference because of how tailored the pattern is. This is just your daily reminder to make sure you're pressing those seams, because on the right is the one that I did press and on the left is the one that I hadn't done yet. It's crazy. Here I realised I forgot to clip the curves before I overlocked, so I had to go in really delicately and clip with the snips after I'd overlocked. So I thought I'd just do a quick check-in now that we're halfway through. We've got the back piece here with the little tie detail at the back, which is quite nice, and some quite accurate top stitching, if I do say so myself. That was quite satisfying. Also have the 2 front pieces complete with the really nice princess seams down the centre, and they're looking like they're going to fit nicely, so that's good. I was a little bit concerned about how stiff the fabric was and if it was going to work well with the seams and everything, but it seems to look quite nice at the moment. Obviously it needs hemming and finishing and buttoning and everything like that, but yeah, I'm feeling quite happy about it so far. It was all going so well. I had yet to get out this bad boy so far in this project anyway, until it got to the facing. When I was attaching the back facing to the front facing, I was already getting mighty confused over wrong side and right side. And then the last thing I did last night was attach all of the facings to the main bodice. And I sewed it wrong side to wrong side, which means I now have to unpick all of it. It was one of those just put it down, have a tea, go to bed kind of situations. So yes, I'm back, I'm feeling refreshed, it's okay, it happens. Like, this is, yeah, all part of sewing. I'm gonna finish unpicking this tonight. I'm not sure if I will re-sew it back on tonight. It's already getting kind of late, so I might just unpick it tonight and then leave that for tomorrow, but we'll see how it goes. But yes, on a date with this thing. We're back in business. So I spent last night just unpicking all of the stitches that I'd done wrong. I then, just before I went to bed, I did pin it back on right side to right side this time. Triple checked it just to be sure. So yeah, now I'm just gonna sew around the edge again, get that facing all nice and sorted, then we can finally move on to the next step. This is also as far as I got in the toile as well, so everything else from now on I haven't actually done yet. So yeah, hopefully smooth sailing from here. Don't want to have to touch the steam ripper again, but we shall see. So I have now stitched it all together, and I've gone round and I have shortened down the seam allowance just on one side so that it's a bit more of a graduated seam. Is that the right term? I don't know. It's just to thin it out a little bit and make sure that it's not kind of edge to edge when I turn it back around. I am going to now overlock the edges just because it frays quite a bit, and there's a couple of edges which are the seam allowance is a little bit narrower than it should be, so I'm gonna have to be super duper careful around there, but yes, I think it'll be worthwhile. So deadline day is tomorrow, and we're going to do our final few finishing off things until this top is done. I have done a little try on test, and if you follow me on Instagram you might have already seen that. If not, links down in the description. But yes, today I think the last thing I filmed was me binding the armholes. I haven't quite finished those off yet, I've just got them pinned in place for now. So first thing we're going to do now is finish that off. Then I'm going to overlock all of the bottom edge and hem it, and then the last thing I'll do is the buttons, which I'm a little bit nervous about because they're kind of make or break in terms of the fitting at the front, so hopefully I can get those all in the correct placings. But yes, I'm looking forward to it. I really liked the try on, it looks really good, so yeah, hopefully we can finish it off well. When I got to the hem, I realised that I should have left a 1 centimetre gap at the end so that I could fold everything up nicely. It did mean that I had to go in and unpick it a little bit, so the hem ended up being a little bit of a hack job, but I'll know for next time. I also realised at the end that I folded the facing over the top of the hem that I'd already folded up here, so the facing hem was over the top of the rest of the hem. You can't tell from the outside, so it's not a big deal, but yeah, I will definitely fold up the hem afterwards next time. Sewing buttons on is honestly one of the most satisfying parts of sewing for me. The last time I did it, I hand stitched it and it was painful and just took so long, but using the machine was so much easier. I obviously also use the machine for the buttonholes as well, and I was just practicing here with a bit of scrap fabric before I went to my actual garment. I did have to redo 2 of the buttonholes just because the positioning was a little bit off, but overall, yeah, just such a quick and easy process. And I love this bit here where you get to rip through the hole, just so satisfying. I don't know why, it's just so weirdly satisfying. Now I know I probably should have done some tailor tacks or something like that when I was cutting out the fabric in order to mark these buttonholes, but I was honestly so focused on just getting it all cut out and ready to sew that I didn't do that. So I did go in manually and just mark it all up, but honestly this was really easy, it didn't take too long at all. And you can see there it's all marked up nicely. This was the last buttonhole that I did, and you'll see when I pull it out in a second that I was off centre with my markings, so I did actually decide to unpick it and redo it. But I just thought I'd leave this in here in case you're a beginner and you're feeling disheartened at all about having to unpick stuff and redo it. It's always worth it. You'll never regret unpicking and redoing something and making it better, because when you wear it again, you'll know that it's the best you could possibly do. We are pretty much done. Just put on the final button, as you would have just seen. Just need to tie up all of the loose ends at the back, and then I'm just going to use a little clean, damp makeup sponge to get rid of the chalk marks. I don't know if you can see that, they're all still on there. For some reason, I get really funny about washing a piece as soon as I've made it. I always want to wear it first, get one wear out of it at least, and then put it in the wash, because I'm just scared it's going to fall apart as soon as I put it in the wash, and I want to get at least one wear out of it, you know. I'm sure it'll be fine because I've secured most of it quite well. There were a couple of things like the hem, which I kind of just ripped into and hacked a little bit, which I might have to go back to at some point to kind of secure up a little bit more, but the rest of it should be good. But yeah, I've obviously lost the light, it's evening now, so I'm going to do final pictures and video clips and things like that in the morning. So yeah, stay tuned for the final wear test try on. We are done. I am so happy with the final result. I didn't make any changes in the end to the front bodice. I think when I make this again, because I will make it again, it's inevitable, I will take some fabric out of the back. And I think Coraline already said that she might be taking some out of the pattern anyway, because of the feedback she's got from the test. I just think when you tie the back pieces at the moment, it gets a little bit scrunched up at the back, which personally I'm not a massive fan of. So I would probably just take out some fabric, create a smoother, more tailored look at the back. But other than that, pretty much everything else was, I wouldn't change a thing. So very, very happy with this pattern. I was a little bit concerned about the fabric choice, but to be honest, it worked out fine. I think it gives it a really nice structure. If I used anything thinner, I would definitely do the lined version, I think. But yeah, doing this as the unlined version was obviously a lot quicker and easier. I'm glad I went with that. And honestly, it gives it a new lease of life. As I said at the start, this fabric hasn't been touched in over 2 decades, so I was really happy to make this kind of vest out of it anyway. If the pattern is already out by the time I post this video, then the link will be in the description. If it's not live already, then I will update the description when it is live. But make sure you follow Coraline Street on all the social media to keep up to date. My Instagram will also be in the description, so follow me over there. I will have already posted some photos of this on there as well. And yeah, be sure to subscribe to this channel if you enjoyed this a little sew along. I have lots more planned. I have a full fabric stash over there that I'm looking forward to getting through at some point. So yeah, if you're interested in that kind of thing, be sure to subscribe, stick around, and enjoy some sewing with me.